We're making a safety video for the bandsaw now, and I want to show you inside the bandsaw and why they call it a bandsaw. It's going to be really important later. So it's got some doors in here that open. You can see the two big wheels. This bottom wheel has the motor attached to it, so that's the drive wheel, right? So when that motor turns, it's going to turn this wheel. The blade is one continuous band of metal. That's why they call it a bandsaw. So you can see it here, it's on this side, and it wraps all the way around the top of that and clear around the bottom. So there's no end to it. It's a circle of metal. And the only thing that makes this wheel move is the fact that that blade is tight. So this knob up here, which you probably won't have to mess with too much, that stretches that top wheel apart. Okay? So the reason I'm telling you this is because there is nothing that holds the blade onto the wheel. Nothing except the tension of the two wheels being spread apart. So that's going to come into play in just a minute. Remember, there's nothing holding that on except tension. Okay? So we'll come back to that in a minute, but I want to show you that first. So we have a guide post here, a guide post. And there's two purposes to the guide post. Number one is to guide the blade. You can see we've got these two bearing blocks here, and they help the blade stay straight. The other thing that the guide post is for safety. So we want to have that guide post down a long ways. So let's say, for example, that somebody was doing something crazy and they had that thing up here like this, because they're doing, I don't know why they'd be doing this, but they were cutting a tall piece of wood, maybe a 4x4, okay, a block. Let's say they're cutting that piece of wood. When you come up to it and you want to cut this piece of wood, that blade is too exposed, and there's no reason to have that blade that exposed. So what you're going to do is you're going to loosen this knob on the back, and you're going to let that guide post go down as close as possible. Now, I like to keep it about a 1/2 inch away, all right? The closer it is, the better it's going to guide the blade. The closer it is, the less blade is showing, so you won't get, the chances of you getting injured are less. This could be a little more, but we're going to leave it right there for now, okay? So let me show you that one of the biggest hazards on the bandsaw is this. I used to see this quite a bit, is people not understanding where their hands are. By the way, the only difference between this bandsaw and the one at the meat cutting shop at Ridley's or Albertsons or whatever, theirs is bigger, it's made of stainless steel, so they can hose it off at the end of the day. But a bandsaw is a great tool for cutting meat and bone. Okay, remember that. It does a great job. I hope it doesn't cut you like that. But the problem I see a lot is people pushing like this. Now, if I was going to cut on this line right here, look where that blade's going to come out. Right there on my thumb. And I've seen several people cut themselves like that because they just don't realize, they're pushing. They're only thinking about pushing. They're not thinking about where that blade's going to come out. And we've had little nicks here. We've had some more serious ones that require stitches. But you need to think about where that's coming out. So I'm going to make a cut here. All right. Now, that is not normally a cut that you would make on a bandsaw. Usually you do that on a miter saw, a nice straight cut. The advantage to the bandsaw is that you can make a curved cut. You could do that with a scroll saw, but a scroll saw doesn't cut 3/4 inch wood like this. The bandsaw does a pretty good job. I'm going to start making this cut right here, and then I'm going to stop halfway through so I can show you something. Okay, let's assume that you're halfway through your cut and you've realized that you're making a mistake, or that that's not the cut you want to make, or something has happened around you and you want to stop, you never back up with the blade moving. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. I'm not going to turn it on, but let's say the blade is moving right now and I back up with the motor running and I back up. What I'm doing is I'm pulling the blade toward me. When I do that, it's going to pull this off the wheel, because remember, there's nothing keeping that on except tension. So if it's moving and I'm pulling and I grab that accidentally right there and pull it toward me, then the blade comes off. Now there's a door here, but most of the time when that blade comes off, it breaks or it gets bent beyond repair. All right, and it scares you more than anything. It makes a really loud popping noise. You don't want that to happen. Okay, so let's say you get halfway through your cut, you've realized for some reason you need to stop, shut it off just like I did, and then you back out with the machine off just like that. And then if you want to, you can continue on this other side and cut that out. Okay? I want to show you a V-block. In my class, we cut round pieces of wood frequently, even PVC pipe for our engineering projects. If I was to come with a round piece of wood, I'm going to have to do it this way, and hold this like this. Remember, this blade is going down. The teeth will grab it sometimes and spin that piece of wood. Okay? Now this one I can hang on to, but if it's shorter and I'm holding it right here and it grabs it and spins it like this, it's a bad thing. Your fingers can get pulled into it. The blade will cut into it weird. You do not want this piece of wood to spin, okay? Because there's really nothing to hold it there. The way we get around that is by putting it in a V-block like this. Now I have to raise the fence or the guidepost up a little bit to make this work. But now I'm going to put this in the V-block, and what that does now, it gives it two surface areas to rest on, not just one. And believe it or not, that makes a big difference. And it will stop that thing from rotating so fast, okay? So I would do it like this. I think I'll actually make this cut. I'm gonna lower that down a little bit. I'm gonna check that out. That looks good. And here we go. Okay, so I did that safely. The wood didn't spin. This is just a scrap piece of wood. You can make them really quickly, and then I label it so nobody throws it away. Okay, so there you have the V-block. Okay, so again, this is an introductory course to safety on the bandsaw. There's more techniques that your instructor will show you. You need to watch this video and answer the questions attached to it.